everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope everybody's doing well. The smell of flowers is in the air, birds are chirping, the temperatures are getting warmer, and I'm enjoying every single second of it. I love spring. I think it's my favorite season. And one of the things I love about spring is that I get lots of inspiration for beautiful floral themed jewelry. All I have to do is take a walk through my neighborhood and I get to see all the gorgeous flowers. And I love the way nature puts the colors together. I really do. I think nature knows what she's doing. So whenever I see flowers that have two colors, for example, I have full confidence that nature knows what she's doing. So that's one of the ways to get inspiration for colors. But today, I don't have to do any of that because Didi's Deluxe Bead Box did it for me. I'm going to be using the beads from April's edition. The name of the box is Vintage Bouquet, and it has some beautiful gemstones and gorgeous spring-themed colors. I can't wait to sit down and show you what I'm going to be making. Now, if you're not familiar with Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, I'll leave a link down below to the website so you can go check it out. But basically, it's a small woman-owned business and they're based out of Canada. They have a website and they also have a Facebook group. I'll leave those links down below as well. Now, if you don't have the beads or if you missed out on getting the box, don't worry because I'll leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video. Just scroll down, you'll see them down below. I also leave timestamps, okay, for those of you who want to skip forward if you don't want to hear me talking like I am right now, or if you have to put your work down and you want to come back to it later, you have the timestamps down below. Another thing I want to mention is that I do leave a list of the tools that I use down below as well. I think that's all the way down at the bottom of the description section. Sometimes I do get asked about what tools I use, what pliers I use, so I always try to put them down in the description section for your convenience. And before we get started, let me remind you that if you're new and you haven't subscribed, please think about doing so because it does help my channel and it helps me to stay motivated to create more videos for you. Alright guys, without any further ado, let's go ahead, turn the camera around and we'll get started. So here's Didi's Deluxe Bead Box for the month of April, and the name of the box is Vintage Bouquet. Let me go ahead and pull out the beads. We're definitely going to be using this beautiful cabochon, okay? When I first saw this one, I got a mental image of what I wanted to do almost immediately. And along with this, we're going to also use this filigree component. So it's going to sit on top like this. I'm definitely going to be using the chain. There's only 12 inches here, so we're not going to use too much of it. I'm going to be using these gorgeous Taiwan Jade beads in this gorgeous green color. These are so pretty. These are 6 millimeters in size. And I'm definitely going to use these beautiful smooth strawberry quartz beads. These are 8 millimeters in size. I'm definitely using these beautiful Lily of the Valley lucite flower bells. As you can see, they come in 2 tones. We're going to use both tones. Now these iron drops really intrigued me, and at first I wasn't sure how I was going to use them, but I'm definitely going to incorporate these in today's design. I'm definitely going to use these filigree heart-shaped connectors, okay, or heart design connectors. We got 4 in this box, and I'm definitely using all 4. Now I don't know if I'll use this pink chalcedony jade stone. These are 6 millimeters in size, and I think we're going to use these mainly with the flower lucite bells. I'm not sure just yet. And that's it from this box. Now before we get started with anything, we're going to prepare this cabochon. I'm going to paint the back of it, guys, because it's white. I don't want any of the white to show through this filigree component. So when we glue it on top like this, I want the back to be colored. I don't want it to be white. So I'm going to paint the back of this, and I have some paint that I'm going to use on this. That's pretty good paint. So this is what I'm going to be using on that cabochon. These are called acrylico paint markers, and they're extra fine point, as you can see, but I think it's still going to work even though it's extra fine point. I may have to apply a couple of coats, but I like using this paint. I've used it before and it's very durable. You can bake it, but I'm definitely not going to do that with that cabochon. But I have used this on all kinds of surfaces. I've used it on mugs, I've used it on glass, I've used it on rocks, and it's very, very durable. So I'm pretty confident that this paint's going to do well on that cabochon. The back is going to be protected because it's going to sit on top of this filigree component. So the back of it isn't going to touch your skin, all right? So I think it should be okay to paint this. And I'm going to paint it in one of the 2 metallic colors that came in this collection. There are 2 markers in here that are gold and silver. But the gold is what I'm going to apply on the back of this. Let me show you. So this is one of the metallic colors. And this is the other one, okay? Obviously, we're going to be using the gold one. The rest of these colors are not metallic. Initially, I thought about using the brown, but I think the gold's going to work better with the bronze metal. So what I need to do first is protect my surface, okay? Let me remove my flowers. And here's my cabochon. And when you use these paint markers, you have to shake them up, okay? Let me turn my cabochon around. So what you do with these markers is you give it a little pump like this, and that makes the paint flow, okay? So that's what we're going to do on this surface. And you can either hold it like this, or you can just put it on some kind of a surface. It does have a rounded side here, so it's best to just hold it in your hand like this, in my opinion. So I'm simply going to pump it like this, and then spread the paint around. And you do have a little bit of time. This paint does dry pretty quickly, but like I said, I'm going to probably apply a couple of coats. So I'm just pumping the paint out. Okay, I'm back and the first coat has dried up, so now I'm going to sand it a little bit to smooth it out. And by the way, guys, this is 150 grit, okay? And I'm just doing it very lightly. I just want to smooth it out a little bit before I apply a second coat. So it's not going to take very much elbow grease at all. Now let me go ahead and wipe it. Make sure I get all the dust off. So now it's pretty smooth, but I do need to apply a second coat. So let me go ahead and shake this pen a little bit. Pump it out, just like I did before. And now let me go ahead and apply the paint. Okay, I've applied a second coat and I'm going to let this dry, and I'll probably come in and sand it again because I do want it really smooth, but it's looking pretty good and I could actually stop right now. I really don't need to add any more paint. Like I said, once it gets glued onto this filigree component, you're not even going to notice the paint. But anyway, once this dries, I'll take another look and see if I need to add another coat, but it's looking pretty good so far. Okay, I'm back and the back of this cabochon is dry now, so I think it's going to be okay, guys. It's pretty smooth, so I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. It's not perfect, but I think it'll do. Let me just show you what it looks like with this filigree component. It's going to go like this. I'm going to be using some E6000 to glue it on top, and this is what it looks like from the back. It's not perfect, but it's definitely much better than white. So let me go ahead and get the glue. And here it is. This is E6000, as you can see. It's a multi-surface all-weather adhesive, and this is perfect for this type of application. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. Now, if you'll notice, this filigree component is not two-sided. On the back, it's very flat, and on the front, it isn't, okay? It's more rounded. The little design is more rounded. So obviously, this is going to have to be the front, even though most of it's going to be covered up. The part that won't be covered up are these scalloped edges. So I definitely want those to show. It's going to go like this. As you can see, most of the design is covered up, but the scalloped edge is not. So this is definitely going to have to be the front. So we'll be applying the glue on this side of the component. And I'm simply going to use a toothpick to apply it. And it's very simple, guys. Okay, there's no mystery to this. You just want to squeeze a little bit onto your toothpick like this. And then you're going to go ahead and apply it to the surface of this component. And you don't really want a thick coat because you don't really want it seeping all over the place. One of the nice things about this glue is that you do have a little bit of time. It doesn't dry right away. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the film as I apply this glue so this video doesn't end up being too long. All right, so I finished applying the glue, as you can see. And now I'm simply going to drop the cabochon right on top, like this. And you can slide it around into position. You want to make sure that it's centered. Let me move it to this side of the board because there's glue all over here, and I don't want it to stick to the component. So anyway, guys, I'm going to let it dry overnight. I want the glue to be perfectly cured, and it's not a good idea to be messing with it when it's still tacky. And since I need the component for the next step, I'm going to go ahead and stop the filming now, and I'll pick it up again in the morning. Okay, I'm back, and it's day 2. I wanted to give the glue a chance to dry. Okay, so whenever you're using E6000, guys, you really should give it a lot of time to cure and to dry and to harden up. Glue always needs time to cure, okay? So even though it's holding the piece really well together, you're going to find out that it's still tacky and it's not cured completely. But anyway, guys, this is dry and ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using some of this chain, and I already have an idea of what I'm going to do in my head. I did a few sketches and I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to know entirely until I actually start assembling everything. And what I'm worried about is that we don't get a lot of chain, so whatever I do, I need to make sure that it's correct, and you have the benefit of watching. So if I cut the wrong lengths or whatever and I have to recut chain, at least you won't have to do it and you'll know in advance. But let me show you what I had in mind. I'm thinking about using these connectors like this. And then I was going to attach chain from the pendant to the connectors. And I actually wanted to attach 3 pieces of chain like this. Let me show you exactly where I want to attach the chain. So one piece of chain will come out of this loop, and then the second piece of chain will come out of this opening here. It's hard to see, but it's this one right here. And then the third piece of chain will come out of this piece right here. But don't worry too much about the placement of the chain, because I'll give you a close-up later on when we connect everything. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to cut some pieces of chain, and they're not going to be very long. And since we don't have a lot of chain, I sort of don't want to waste these links. So I think what I'm going to do is cut one of the links and then use it to connect to this component right here. So the first piece is actually going to have 5 links, and I'm going to find the spot where it's actually soldered, which I think is right here, because that's where it's easier to cut. I want to make sure I get the right spot, just like that. And now let me go ahead and separate this link, remove it, like this, okay? And now let me close it up so I don't lose this link. So this is my first piece, and it's going to go here. Let me go ahead and cut my second piece. My second piece is going to have 4 links. So once again, I'm going to look for the spot where it's soldered, and I'm going to try to cut it right in that spot. And let me go ahead and open up this link now, remove it from the rest of the chain, and close it up. And this one's going to go right here like this. And now the third piece is going to have 6 links. So here's my 6th link. Let me find the place where it's soldered. And now I'm going to go ahead and snip it. And let me open up this link now. And close it up so I don't lose it. And this piece is going to go right here like this. So let me go ahead and do the same thing for this side. I'm going to speed up the film and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back, and I've cut all my pieces of chain, as you can see. The other thing that I did is I arranged the pieces so that the links that are cut are facing the connectors, okay? My plan is to connect the connectors to the chain using the links of the chain, and then at the other end I'm going to use jump rings. And I have a reason for that, okay? The reason I want to use jump rings on this pendant is because this filigree component is very, very thin. So you want your jump rings to have a nice clean cut, and you want to close them really, really well. And I'm not too concerned about these links because they're going to go on these connectors, and these connectors are actually pretty thick. So there's no chance that these connectors are going to slip out of the links. I hope that makes sense. So I have 3 jump rings for this side and 3 jump rings for this side, and these are 4mm jump rings. So let me go ahead and start connecting these. So I'm simply going to take a jump ring, and now I'm going to open it up, and let me go ahead and connect it to this loop here like this. And now let's connect this piece of chain like this, and let's close it up. do want to make sure that you do a good job of closing these jump rings, okay? You don't want any of these jump rings to fail. So here's the first piece connected. And now I'm going to connect this one to the same loop. So I'm going to grab a jump ring again, open it up, hook it onto this loop like this. And now let's connect the chain like this and close it up. Make sure you check the jump ring from all angles. You want it closed really, really well. So here's what we have so far. And now I'm going to connect this piece. So once again, I'm going to grab a jump ring and open it up. And now let's take a look at these openings here. I want to actually connect it to this one right here. Let me go ahead and connect the chain and then I'll give you a close-up. Like I said, guys, these jump rings have to be closed very, very well. All right, so that one's connected. Let me give you a close-up. I'll turn it around. As you can see, we have this scrolly design at the top, and then we have these scallops on the edges, and it's actually connected to the first opening of this first scallop. Each one has 2 openings, and this chain is connected to the first opening. I hope you guys can see that. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Let me grab a jump ring. Open it up. And now let's take a look at these openings here. I want to connect it to this one right here. Just like that. And now let me connect the chain just like that. And now let's close it up. That looks pretty good. So here's what we have so far. Let me go ahead and connect these 2 now. Once again, I'm going to grab a jump ring. And now let's open it up. So now I'm going to skip this next scallop and I'm going to connect it to this one right here. And I'm connecting it to the second opening of that scallop. Let's grab the chain and let's go ahead and connect it like this. And now let's close it up. Let me turn it around and give you a close-up, okay? So as you can see, I have the first chain connected to the loop at the top. I have the second chain connected to the first opening of the first scallop, okay? And then I have the third one connected to the third scallop along the edge on the second opening. All right, let me go ahead and do the other side now. So once again, I'm going to grab this jump ring, open it up, and let's go ahead and go to the third scallop, second opening, like that. Connect the chain, and then close it up. So this is what we have so far, and this is how I'm going to connect it, okay? And as you can see, these connectors have a lot of openings, so you can pretty much connect these links wherever you want, but I'm going to show you exactly where I'm going to connect mine. So let's go ahead and do this side first. And now I have to see where it is that I cut the link. I think that's where the cut is, right there. So I'm simply going to take it and open it up. Just like that. And now let's take this connector and I'm going to connect it to this opening right here. Let me close up this link and then I'll show you exactly which opening. So here's a close-up of where I connected it, okay? Now, one thing you do want to do, guys, is you want to lay down your chain so that it sits properly. You don't want it all twisted around, okay? So now that we've connected the first chain, let me show you where we're going to connect the second chain. Once again, I need to find where it is that I cut the link. Let me go ahead and open it up. And this link is going to be connected to the loop of this connector, just like that. Let me close up the link and then I'll show you. So this is what we have so far. Let me put the whole thing down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And now I just need to connect this last one to this opening here. So once again, let me find where it is that I cut the link and let me open it up. And now I'm going to connect it to this opening right here. Just like that. And let me close it up. So this side is done and I really like that. I think it looks adorable. So now I'm going to connect these chains to this link exactly the same way that I did this one, okay? So let me speed up the film and I'll meet you back. Well, what do you think? Doesn't it look gorgeous? I love it. I think it's so adorable. So this is just the beginning of my design, okay? I'm going to embellish it with some dangles next. But before I do anything else, I'm going to take this to the mirror and hold it up to my chest and see how it drapes and see if these are the right amount of links. I may have to remove some links. I don't know. I'll figure it out once I hold it up to my chest. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I'm pretty happy with how it drapes. I guess if I wanted to, I could fiddle with it a little bit more and change it up a little bit, but I think it's going to be just fine just like that. So I'm not going to fiddle with it anymore. So let me move this up now and we're going to work on the dangles. We're going to be using both of these strands. We're also going to be using these iron drops. And we're going to be using these Lily of the Valley lucite bells. I have some head pins here. These are flat head pins. Let me go ahead and cut this strand. I just want to pull enough beads out to make the dangles. So let me just go ahead and remove these. I'm probably not going to need all of these beads for the dangles, but let me go ahead and get started. So these dangles are going to be very simple, guys, okay? I'm simply going to take a head pin and thread on one of these beautiful chalcedony jade beads. And then the light pink bead is going to have a dark pink bell cap like this. And now we're going to do a simple loop because these head pins are pretty thick. Okay, so I don't want to do any wrap loops. So basically what I'm going to do is kink the pin at the very top of the bell cap. Try to get it as close to the bell cap as you can. And then go ahead and give it a kink. Snip off the excess, leaving yourself about 3/8 of an inch. And now with some round nose pliers, you're going to grab the pin so that it's flush. And then form a loop. Make sure the loop is nicely closed and straight, and this is what you should have. Pretty simple. The next kind of dangle is going to have a green bead. So let's go ahead and thread one on like this. And this one's going to have the light pink bell cap, just like that. Once again, you want to kink your pin at the top of the bell cap. Snip off the excess, leaving yourself 3/8 of an inch. And then go ahead and create another loop. Make sure your loop is closed all the way and that it's nice and straight. Just like that. Okay, so there's your second dangle. And I'm actually going to hang them from this connector right there, like that. So let me go ahead and make another two for this side now. So now I have two on this side. I'm also going to hang another dangle from the bottom here. And this one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to thread on a green bead first, and then a pink bell cap, like this. And now one of these pink chalcedony jade beads and a fuchsia bell cap like this. So this one's going to hang off the bottom here. Let me move everything down so you can get a better idea of what I'm doing. So I'm actually going to hook up these two dangles to one of the openings of this connector. But before we do any of that, I want to hook up these beautiful iron drops. These really have me intrigued. And these are very thin, guys, so I am going to use jump rings, but I'm going to have to make sure that I close them very, very well, okay? Because we don't want these sliding through the opening of a jump ring. So let me show you how I'm going to connect these. I'm going to put one on this side here like this. I'm going to put another one on this side. And I'm going to hang another one from this connector and another one on this side here like this. So let's go ahead and connect these two first. Once again, I'm going to be using 4mm jump rings. Let's open up this jump ring. And now let's go ahead and hook this iron drop to the jump ring like this. You do want to make sure that they're facing the correct way, okay? And let me show you exactly where we're going to connect it. We're going to connect it to this opening here like this. Let me go ahead and close this jump ring. Like I said before, these need to be closed really, really well. And after you hook it up, guys, it's a good idea to test it. Make sure that it's not going to slip through the opening of that jump ring. And that looks pretty good. So there's the first one. And now let's connect this one. And once again, you want to test it. Make sure you close the jump ring properly. So this is what we have so far, and I think it looks adorable. Let's go ahead and connect these two now. I have two jump rings here. We'll open up this jump ring. And now let's take a look and see where we're going to connect this one. Let me go to the back of the component, and I think I'm going to connect it to this opening right here. So as you can see, it's the next scallop up from where this scroll design is, and it's the second hole up from the bottom, okay? And once again, you want to make sure that you connect it correctly with the correct side facing the front. And let's close it up. It's looking super cute. I love it. Let me connect this one now. So here's what we have so far. I think it looks really, really nice. I'm very happy with it so far. Now before we go any further, I'm going to connect these dangles, okay? And these are very easy. I'm simply going to grab one of these, open up the loop like this, and this one's going to go on the very bottom on this loop here like this. Close it up really well. So there's that one now. And now let me show you how these are going to go. I'm going to place the light pink one here and the fuchsia one above it. Same thing on this side like this, okay? So once again, we're going to grab the dangle and open up the loop. And we're going to hook it up to this connector. Like this. And now let's close up the loop. Let's go ahead and connect this one now. I'm going to hook this one up to this side of the little heart shape, okay? I'll give you a close-up in just a second when I close the loop up. Let me put everything down so you can take a better look. As you can see, we have this iron drop connected to this heart shape, okay? And this is the same heart shape that this piece of chain is connected to. And then we have these two drops connected to this heart shape. I hope you guys can see that. So now let me go ahead and do this side the same way. So here's what we have so far, and I think it looks really, really pretty. Now we're going to have some additional dangles further up the necklace, but the next thing that I'm going to do is a beaded component that's going to go from this loop to another connector just like this. So we're going to have two more connectors like this with a beaded component in the space there. So for the beaded components, I'm going to use the bigger beads. I'm going to use some of these beautiful quartz beads. Like I said before, these are 8mm in size. So let me go ahead and pull out two for now. And I'm going to pair them up with these green Taiwan jade beads. I am going to use these head pins to create my beaded components, okay, because I have a whole bunch of these, and so I can afford to take the heads off and turn them into loops. But if you don't have head pins to spare, you can use 18 gauge wire or 20 gauge wire. So I'm simply going to snip off the head like this. And now I'm going to grab the pin at about 3/8 of an inch down from the end and give it a kink like this. And now I'm going to create a loop at this end. Just like that. And let me thread on one of these green Taiwan jade beads. And one of these strawberry quartz beads. And another green Taiwan jade bead like this. And now you want to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this, line up the bottom loop and give it a kink. Snip off the excess, leaving 3/8 of an inch. And now create another loop at this end. Just like that. Let me make sure my loops are lined up. So this one's going to be connected like this. Let me go ahead and build another one for this side. So here's this component now. And these are very easy to connect. You simply open up this loop here, like this. Hook it onto the loop of this connector, like this. And now close it up really well. And now we're going to open up this loop and connect this link. So this is what we have so far. Let's go ahead and connect this one now. So it's looking really nice so far. I love it. And now I'm going to create the same exact dangles that you see on these connectors for these two. So this one's going to have the same as these three, and same thing with that one. So let me go ahead and speed up the camera. So here's what we have so far. It looks so beautiful. It looks so Victorian. So now what I'm going to do is finish up the necklace by building some more of these beaded components. I'm just going to have these components all the way to the top where the clasp is, and that should complete the necklace. Let me see how long this part is so far. It looks like it's almost 3.5 inches from the loop to the end of that connector. So that gives me some idea of what I need to do. But I'm not going to know until I actually connect everything to see exactly how many of these beaded components I'm going to need, all right? So what I'm going to do now, guys, is just build a few more of these. I think I'm going to build 6. So here are 6 quartz beads. And I have these jade beads. And here's some more head pins. So let me go ahead and speed up the camera and I'll meet you back. As you can see, I've built some beaded components and I've already connected this strand. I have 3 more to connect to this side, and that's very simple, guys. Okay, you just take one, open up the loop like this, and now hook it onto the connector like this, close it, and now let's open up this side, connect the next component, close it up, open up the next loop, connect the last one, close it up, so this side is done. So this is what we have so far. I love it. It's absolutely adorable. Let me move this up so you can see the bottom. Now before I build any more of these beaded components, I'm going to take this to the mirror, hold it up to my chest, and see if I need to add some more components or not. Okay, I may not need any more. It depends on how it sits on my chest. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I've decided I'm going to add one more beaded component to each strand. I already prepared them, as you can see. I also have 2 jump rings here. They're both 6mm jump rings, and I have a lobster claw clasp. So let me go ahead and connect the beaded components first. And now I'm going to open up one of these jump rings. I'm going to connect it to this side, and this is the right side of the necklace. That's going to have the lobster claw clasp. And on this side, we're just going to have the jump ring. In a few moments, I'm going to show you the back of the pendant so you can see exactly how I connected the chain. So here's a close-up of where I connected the chain. Hopefully you can take a screenshot. And here's a close-up of how I connected the dangles. So here's the finished necklace. I love it. I think it looks gorgeous. It's definitely very vintage, and it's definitely very romantic and floral with these beautiful bead caps and these gorgeous colors. This would make a beautiful gift for Mother's Day, and it's definitely the right thing to wear if you're going to a garden party or some kind of spring evening event. And one thing I wanted to mention, guys, a few of you have asked me about base metals. They will turn your skin green after a while, okay, if you wear a piece a lot, because what happens is that the finish wears off, okay, and if you sweat a lot or you wear lotions and perfumes, it may affect it as well, and your chemistry can affect the base metal as well. So what I do sometimes is that I coat my metals with something called permalac, okay. This one is actually semi-gloss, but you get it at Potomac Beads, and they come in semi-gloss, and I think they come in matte as well. And you simply apply it onto whatever you want. You can apply it onto the chain, the jump rings, the clasp, the connectors. It goes on very easily like nail polish. Let me show you. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to make a mess on my mat, but I want to show you what it looks like. As you can see, it looks like a nail polish brush, and you just brush it on just like nail polish or clear coat, okay? And you really don't need a lot, just a thin coat. I've actually taken a whole piece of chain and dipped it in the bottle and then pulled it out to dry. But then what ends up happening is that the links actually stick a little bit, so you have to break them up, which is no big deal. I've done that before many times. But anyway, this is what I would recommend if you're worried about base metals. But just like any jewelry, guys, you have to keep it clean. And so after each wear, you should wipe it down and store it in a cool, dry place. But anyway, I'm very happy with this beautiful necklace, and I want to show you what it looks like. So let me go ahead and put it on and I'll show you. Well, what do you think of this beautiful necklace? Would you wear something like this? I think it's pretty trendy looking, even though this pendant is kind of big, but I have a bit of a small frame, so I'm not sure how this would look on other people. But anyway, guys, this is such a romantic and pretty necklace. I definitely would wear it. I'd wear it to dinner. I'd wear it to a garden party. I'd wear it to a cookout. It's one of those pieces that is very versatile. You can wear it to pretty much anything, and it depends on what you wear with it. That makes a difference as well. So anyway, guys, like I said before, I'll leave a list down below of all the materials that I used to make this necklace. And if you didn't get Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, hopefully you can find similar items. I'll leave the dimensions and the colors and everything. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.